All right, Mr. Walton. So overcrowding has been somewhat of an issue here in KISD, and with enrollment numbers of high schools all exceeding 2,000 students at all four public high schools here in the district. Students are having to use portable classrooms. Currently, three of those schools are over their suggested capacity. What are your feelings, and do you believe that there's a need for a fifth high school? And if so, why or why not?
The numbers clearly suggest that the need may exist. And the reason I use the word may is because I think it is important to understand what options have been explored. But from my perspective, it is all about being fiscally responsible and optimizing educating our children. And if achieving those two goals requires an additional high school, then I think it needs to be appropriately pursued. If there are other ways to achieve that goals, I think they need to be pursued. So I'd need to see the options that have been explored to find the best way to work with the school board and with the administration and the community to move forward in that.
Unique that you bring up options and ideas that have been put forth. One of those ideas has been whether or not Killeen School District should expand the Career Center into another high school. It's currently located in the southern part of the city, which is one of the biggest growing areas of the city. So there's a large debate going on that I'd like to get your thoughts about, if maybe they should possibly expand the Career Center as opposed to building another high school in a different location somewhere that they would have to start new.
The Career Center is clearly one of the jewels in our community. And I think considering where the population growth is occurring, considering the potential need, I believe it is an option that needs to be explored.
Okay, so KISD high schools cafeterias have not been able to accommodate all of their students because of what I mentioned in the first question, is with the increasing number of high school students and population growth. This has prompted the district to allow all students in high school to have open campus lunch periods in which students can go off campus and receive lunch if they choose. Many of these students walk to get their food because they don't have a car to drive, and accidents and other altercations have happened during this time, while teachers and students are allowed to kind of roam free around campus as well as off campus. What solutions do you think should be suggested to KISD to feed all of their students more efficiently?
I think the assumption that there is a correlation between open campus and the accidents and the fights may or may not be totally accurate. But looking at what are the options, there'll probably be a recurring theme as I answer the questions. I received advice years ago from one of my great mentors, and he said, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, so listen twice as much as you speak. So should I be given the opportunity to be on the school board, I would like to listen to the options that have been explored, because these are issues that have been ongoing, and even bring the young people and the teachers, the students and the teachers, into the discussion so that we can get a thorough understanding of why these fights are occurring and why the accidents are occurring, and work with them on solutions.
Unique second time that this has happened, but you've led into my next question, which relates, and as it relates to school fights. There are various reports of on-campus as well as off-campus fights that have happened throughout the school year, more than in previous years, with students having these issues during these open campus lunch periods as well as after school and walking home. How should district and local police departments work more cohesively to prevent these school fights from happening throughout the district and after school and during open campus lunch periods?
You've heard the word a couple times from me now, understanding, and that is speak with the folks involved. I'm a firm believer in collaboration. I think you arrive at the best solutions when you listen, you try to understand the reasons for the fights and the altercations. What is motivating it? Again, getting the students, the teachers, law enforcement, district leadership all of the key constituents being represented at the table and trying to understand their different perspectives. You know, I have the greatest respect for our local law enforcement, and I know that they're invested in their community. So I think sitting down together, we can come up with an appropriate understanding and then an action plan.
Special education has been a point of obvious needed improvement throughout the district, although a lot of that improvement has already been made. In 2015, the district was investigated for a number of reasons, including needing adjustments to its policies on special education, more specifically, its referral process to give students the services they needed, as well as a lack of consistent student tracking of where those students have made those improvements in those types of programs. And as of January of this year, the district had reached compliance with the TEA standards. What changes and adjustments do you believe will help the district to continue to improve its special education programs, as it's obviously been something that's needed in the past?
Well, first, it's good news that the TEA has approved the plan that was submitted. The district submitted a 3-year plan, and in that plan, you know, the database the tracking issue was addressed, and other concerns that were raised were specifically addressed. It's great to have a plan. Now we have to implement the plan, track the plan, and ensure that we are all accountable to the plan. So, you know, I see one of the key roles of the Board of Trustees is to ensure that a part of the ongoing agenda to have updates on how we are complying with the plan. No need to wait for the TEA to tell us about it. We can have those wheels in motion so that we can collectively be accountable to the process. And again, very similar to what I said earlier, engaging the parents of these students in meaningful dialogue, listening to their concerns and understanding why they feel the way they do, and working with them and coming up with a plan. When people are part of the solution, buy-in usually occurs.
And lastly, in January, the TEA was released its preliminary A through F ratings for all schools and school districts throughout the state. Many of the KISD schools as individuals receive D and F grades in specific categories. With the developing plan, how do you feel that the board can help to improve these ratings for the district, and how do you feel that you can help to affect that?
Sure. Let me begin by clearly stating I believe in accountability. I believe in ratings. However, these current ratings, as I've shared before, are pretty misleading, because the TEA on their very own website stated that no inference should be drawn from these ratings. This is a work in progress, and we're working to refine it. So I think they need to follow through on that and engage district leadership from around our state to be a part of developing ratings that are understandable, that the teachers can understand, district leaders can understand, boards can understand, parents can understand, students can understand, so that when you see a grade associated with your school or your school district, you understand the rationale behind it. And I think the board can continue to push for appropriate ratings that are easily understandable and that can hold us as a board, should I be a part of that group, or the district leadership accountable.